All right. All right, we're live. Welcome in, everybody, to 410 Sports Talk. This is a beautiful Tuesday night.
That's right.
And I guess, first of all, we have to say, hope for Tiger Woods to be okay. We see he rolled his car off the side of the road, and it's kind of conflicting reports saying that he needed the jaws of life originally to get him out of there. But now I'm seeing that they didn't need the jaws of life. He was conscious after the wreck. So I don't know what's going on, but hopefully Tiger's okay and back out on the course soon enough.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be out on the course.
I don't know
not that it's a laughing matter, but I do know that he'll have multiple surgeries on his legs.
Yeah, but then it says the sheriff's department did not use the jaws of life, and Woods was found in stable condition with no evidence of impairment. I don't know. But anyway, I hope he's okay. Nonetheless, I think he was out with Jada Pinkett this morning teaching her lessons. They tweeted a picture together, so it's Jada's fault.
Well, either way, we hope that, like you said, that Tiger's doing all right. Now I'm gonna drop a message in the chat real quick to make sure that let us know the chat is working, because you know how it goes.
Yeah, I think you have to lead it off.
And I'm also gonna say, when you hop in the show, because I'm interested more than anything, let us know where you're from. Where are you streaming? Where are you watching the show from? We had some Kiwis on last time from New Zealand. Some I'm not going to try an Australian accent, but some folks from Australia. So pretty awesome. Let us know where you're from. And all right. So Glenn, this is where I want to start tonight.
All right.
Obviously we're getting into a lot of Ravens stuff. The draft is creeping ever so closely, but I want to start with the madness around JJ Watt and his tweets.
Yeah. What was the newest tweet?
Today he tweeted, I believe mitochondria is the powerhouse of cells or something like that. Let me see here. I can get you the exact tweet.
What does that mean?
Well, he's just talking about the mitochondria.
But I don't think people are reading into it like it means something. So
okay, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Right, exactly. And so so a lot of people are reading into it like it means more than that. So there's some crazy ones. There's people have said that it means he's going to Buffalo because mitochondria is the same number of letters as Buffalo Bills or something.
Stop it. There's no way people are really reading into it that much. There's no way.
I mean, it's just insane. So let's talk about an update. Nothing's happened yet.
Yeah. He's enjoying himself, isn't he?
Yeah, but also I also think it's important. Let me know what you think here. I think that it makes sense for him to get out in front of it, right? I wouldn't wait till free agency opens because I want money as much. Well, if it's not about money, but at the same time, like I want as much money as I can get, right? Like, because when money starts, when the well starts drying up, it's not like it's gonna come around again.
Well, I mean, he's made over 100 million, so I think he's probably enjoying everyone kind of kissing his ass a little bit. He's enjoying the courting process, that everyone telling him how great he is, and I think that he's probably just having a good time with all that. But at some point he's got to make a decision, because I think he's one of those dominoes that has to fall first before the rest of the guys can start to fall. He's definitely one of the key guys out there. I think Allen Robinson's definitely another one in the wide receiver room, that once those top guys start to fall, we get to see a price for the other guys that are maybe second and third tier behind them. So I think, it'd be nice if it would happen sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. So do you have any inclination in your mind where he's going, though?
It's bumming me out that I never hear Baltimore brought up. I mean, I hear tons of analysts and pundits and talking heads, and I mean, never do I hear the Baltimore Ravens. I've heard the Bills a lot lately. Of course, the Browns getting a lot of run, Titans getting a lot of hype for being a guy that he would, or a team he would go to. The Packers with the recent clearing of cap space, but no Ravens talk. So I'm starting to lose hope, Jimbo. I'm starting to think that maybe he's not coming to Baltimore. And, that bums me out because I just don't know who's going to rush the quarterback. And right now it's going to be Jalen Ferguson, and that scares me.
Jalen Ferguson. And I'll tell you what, they're going to put my dog there on the D-line. I can just tell him to stay. He'll get in a 4-point stance, take off when
Coda?
Oh, literally my dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll be, low center of gravity.
That's right. He's a big boy.
That's right. So I agree with you. It is saddening to know that, I don't think it's the stars are aligning. But however, we have seen the Ravens swoop in, and they're quite swift, right? Like when they come in, make an offer, it's usually pretty quick.
Yeah.
And the deal gets done. But yeah, less and less, I think the likelihood of JJ coming to Baltimore, which I know you and I kind of were both excited about, but less and less I see that being possible. I think that it's down to the Bills or the Browns. I think that those are.
I think Titans have a shot at it, because they were obviously disappointed what they got out of Clowney last year.
That's true.
And they're looking to replace him. But yeah, I think it's smart. I see Adam is starting to look elsewhere. I think it's probably smart to look elsewhere. I don't want to be totally defeatist about it because there is still a chance. But yeah, Hassan Reddick, we brought him up. The only thing with Hassan is he's undersized, so he's mainly a pass rush specialist. I don't know how much he'll bring to the stopping the run and holding the edge, but I definitely like him as a pass rusher. He's a great athlete. Floyd, I like Floyd too. I just wonder how much of Floyd's success is due to having Aaron Donald next to you and having, Michael Brockers with you and having a really fantastic secondary behind you. So it makes you wonder, but I do like Michael Floyd. I think he's a good player. Melvin Ingram, I think he's a good player. Absolutely. The only problem with him is he's been banged up a lot lately, and that obviously works.
And he's on the wrong side of 30, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's one of the older guys out there, which that's definitely going to hurt him. And
that doesn't put the Ravens off too often, though, right? Like they'll take the over 30
cheaper.
guys.
Yeah, that's exactly. Right. Yeah, I mean they'll
got
take
a couple gray hairs. Sure, come on over.
But I think you have to have a track record of being a little bit healthier than he has at that age. I don't know if. But yeah, I mean they're all nice players when they're on the field. There's no doubt. I like all those guys. I'm not too sure. I don't know too much about Trey Dickerson. I'll just be honest. I'm not that familiar with him. But yeah, the other guys I really like. I think that unfortunately we're gonna have to nail this draft to get pass rush because I just don't see how they can afford any of the high end guys and that's what it's going to cost to bring in a guy who you can definitely look at and say this guy can get to the quarterback. And yeah, like Khalil Mack would be a great ad, but I don't think they can afford it. I think Marcus Golden, we mentioned Marcus Golden last offseason as a guy we'd like to see, and it never turned out. But yeah, I think Marcus Golden would be an option as a second-tier guy. But I don't know, Jimmy, what do you think? What do you ultimately think happens with our pass rush? And I guess the reason we like JJ is because he was a pass rush guy and a run set. He could do both.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what happens is we get, well, not that this solves our pass rush woes, but I think we get Tyus back.
Yeah.
I think we get Purnell back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we take another mid-level guy that could be a cap casualty. I think that's the only way it gets done. The rest of it, like you said, is going to have to be done in the draft. So, man, that is the scariest part of our team for me right now. Certainly. So, get taking care of the pass rush is going to be interesting. We've got a lot of holes to fill, but there's some other news that came out today that I also want to talk about. I don't know if you saw this, but Willie Snead was making headlines, and I saw a commenter mention we got to bring these up. So Willie Snead tweeted today. He said, any receiver can be a true number one if they are in a system that allows them to be. What they do after that is on them.
What's RNS mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah, if anyone knows what RNS means,
we are not
trying to decipher it. I'm not RNS. I don't know what that would mean, but I'm not really sure I know what the tweet itself means.
So I noticed a follow. Oh well, maybe So RNS will just bypass that.
Why? Did someone say what it meant? And it's
not good? I just looked it up what it meant. Yeah, and it's just not good.
So does it give you any clarity on what he means?
So no, it doesn't. But he followed up his tweet because somebody, people were tweeting at him, and he said he said, you give any receiver 100 plus targets, if they're worth a damn, they'll be considered a number one because they have had plenty of opportunities to show it. If you're going to talk, speak facts, not just name drop. So I'm interested. So because Willie's always been the anti-diva guy, the guy that's just gone out there, fought hard. I think he really likes playing for the Ravens. I really don't think it was about.
Oh, I see why you couldn't say Arnaz.
Yeah. So I don't think it was really
You're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it was really about him playing his frustrations with the Ravens.
Right.
I think it had more to do with the fact that so many other guys get so much clout just because they get targets.
I see.
Right? That's how I perceive it, because that's just like in basketball, right? Like somebody's got to shoot the ball. Somebody's got to score the points. So what do you take of it? Do you think that, and what do you think spawned it?
I don't know if it's, to me, it sounds like, because then Hollywood Brown, retweeted it and then put 100.
Yeah.
I think maybe he was just defending his guy. That's what I'm hopeful for, that he was just defending the other receivers in the room. And I mean, because look, you turn on TV and the first thing they talk about is Lamar needs true weapons, and this is the worst receiving core in the league. They need a number one, and maybe he's just defending his guys and saying that if there was if this offense was a more heavy pass offense and you could get 100 targets, that you would get that true number one out of one of these guys. So I'm hopeful that that's what he meant, because I don't think it doesn't bode well for him to return if he's referring to the coaching staff, because they're not going to want him back, even if he is right, which I think some would agree that he is right. But yeah, I don't think I'm hopeful that that's not, because he didn't really call anyone out on the staff. He just called out the opportunity. So I guess in a way he's still insulting. I don't know if he's insulting, but he doesn't seem thrilled to be in that Roman system, or he doesn't seem thrilled about the evaluation of the receivers in Roman's system, and is pointing out that it's not fair because they don't get the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I totally agree. I'd like to know if anybody has any opposing thoughts here. Apparently somebody's hungry for some Big Macs.
Yeah.
Look.
Can you say that name?
Asmodeus Thanatos.
Big Macs. I think last week he said Big Macs?
Maybe, but look, man, you got to try the
McNuggets.
You got to try the McBanger is all I'm saying.
The McBanger.
Look, if you're going to go to McDonald's and clog up the arteries, might as well make it worth it. That's all I'm saying. Just remember, when you go to McDonald's next time, remember 410 Sports Talk, get a McDouble and a McChicken, put the McChicken between the two patties.
He's leading you down
banger.
the wrong track.
It is
do
banging.
not do this. This is more is not always better. Okay. I tell my wife when she's building I don't need that much beef on it. Okay. I want it proportionate. Okay. I want it proportionate with the toppings, with the bun. I don't need to have anyway.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about here is I Am Athlete is a very popular podcast. And so if you notice, we're a little lack of focus tonight, but we got a lot to talk about. We're bouncing back and forth between Ravens talk and national stuff, but this was interesting to me. Cam Newton, there were some catchy points of that interview. I don't know if you saw any of that. So a couple things that he said he doesn't think, he's not retiring. He has no thoughts of retiring because he doesn't think that he said, I can't go out like that. There aren't 32 guys better than me. So based on that comment, what's your take on his opinion of himself? Do you think that there are 32 guys right now better than Cam Newton?
No, I don't think so. And me, I'm not, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of him going to New England. I didn't see the fit, just from his playing style and Belichick's coaching style. I didn't see it as a match. But he did come to Belichick's defense in a way, and saying that he's misunderstood and that he's dope. That was cool. Is what he said, which was cool.
Yeah.
But I agree with him. I mean, what else would you want him to say? Could you imagine if he said the opposite? I mean, I would hope that he still has that kind of confidence in himself. I think if he's healthy, has a full off season with whatever team he's with, I think he's definitely not the worst quarterback in the league. I mean, I think that would be silly to think that when you look around the league, especially, I mean, there's quarterbacks out there, that are their backups, like Marcus Mariota is talking about trying to compete for a starting job. RG3 is talking about going after a starting job. So if any of these guys have the audacity to talk about competing for starting, then I sure hope Cam Newton at his age and his level of accomplishment would still have the confidence he could do so. I think that he struggled last year. I thought he would struggle last year. It just doesn't seem like a good fit. And look, they had no talent around the guy. So
that's
it's
what I
not
was
even
going to
like
ask.
him.
How much of it for you at the end of the season did you look back and you were like, man, maybe there is more to Cam Newton than I initially thought, but it really he was throwing to he had very little. Right, exactly.
He had an 80-year-old Edelman who
didn't even play the majority of the season.
Exactly. And when he did play, I got to give him credit. He was tough. He was gutting it out there, but he just didn't last. And when you're that old and you've had, a lot of injuries, they catch up to you. So I think that if he had no running backs of any value. He had zero tight end. I mean, tight end. Can you name a tight end on their roster?
No, I can't.
That's pretty bad when you're talking about the New England Patriots, who are known for some pretty good tight ends. They had one receiver who was, aging as we just mentioned and hurt half the year. So it's hard to evaluate him, after that season. I still think he showed some athleticism. He showed he showed a nice zip on the ball before the COVID thing. I don't know what happened. It's like,
well, and he talked
else.
about that too. Did you see that? He talked about the physical effects of COVID on his body, and that they were long lasting. That it took. Yeah, absolutely.
That Seattle game, I believe, was right before that. And I remember watching that Seattle game, and I think I texted you. I was wrong about Edelman because that dude was battling in that game, doing everything he could. And Cam Newton had surprising zip on the ball. So I thought I was wrong. And then it kind of like the wheels fell off right after that with the COVID stuff. And then really after he came back, they couldn't get going again. So what's wrong with, look, Edelman had his time, okay? And we don't need to get
no, we don't have to.
We don't need to get Jimmy started on Edelman because we've already had a heated debate on how much was Edelman and how much was Brady that created Edelman. But I had already admitted that I may have been a little bit insulting to Edelman last year. I admitted it on this program. But look, Brady had something to do with it. It's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. But just to kind of wrap up that portion of it, I thought it was interesting with Cam, and I agree with him. I think that Cam Newton will be a starter in this league next year, and I think that he will continue to recuperate to some sort of a. I think that the lucky part about Cam is that he has, even though he's had a deterioration of his physical gifts, they were already so high that maybe he's come down a little bit. But what I've noticed, and it's funny because this way, I think he's comparative to Russell Westbrook, to where like Russ was so out in front of everyone athletically, right? But the problem with Russ, to me, why his values dropped, because his game hasn't adapted that drastically enough to make up for his, he's coming down to the pack, right? To the other people, and he's still more athletic than 90% of people out there, but he's regressing to the mean, right?
Yep.
But his game is not changing enough to keep up with it. But I think that Cam is starting to show some maturity, some focus on his technique and things like that, to where I think he can make his career longer and have a little bit of a second splash or second wave here. And I tell you what, I think the team to do it is right down 495. I think you and I talked about it with his old coach.
Yeah. He seems to have, I think it's only natural to look at Washington and look at their quarterback room and go, well, they have a pretty big need. Needing a veteran in there, even if they draft a guy, it's nice to have a veteran. And what I learned about him this year, and I don't want to spend too much time with him, but I learned this past year is his work ethic is out of this world. He was talked about as the first one in the building and the last one to leave. So anytime I hear something like that, it's encouraging to know that he'll be able to adapt his game as he loses some of that athleticism. And I think he would have done a lot better had he not had the COVID situation and
had somebody to throw to
and had some talent around him. I mean, it was ridiculous. But anyway, let's. I want to move on to another interesting thing I've been hearing surrounding the Ravens, and I think somebody mentioned in the chat earlier on. The Ravens' possibility of cutting Brandon Williams. There's some opportunity to open up some cap room there, but apparently they've been hesitant to do so because they know what he brings to the run game and how much he helps shut down opposing running backs. But I will say they could clear $7.5 million in cap space, but they would also be subject to almost $7 million in dead cap money. So
Oh,
they'd be paying him they'd be paying $7 million for him to probably play against them because I'm sure he would be signed by another team not too long after releasing. So what are your thoughts on the possibility of releasing Brandon Williams?
yeah, I think based on those numbers alone, I don't think it happens. I don't know if there's anyone out there that the Ravens are going to that are going to want to pursue that hard to take that much of a hit. We're already going to be taking a hit in a number of places as far as dead money goes. So I don't think they just want to casually add to that. Plus, do you have in front of you his age? I don't think Brandon's that crazy old yet.
He's not that. He's in his low 30s, but hang on, let's pull it up. He's 32.
Yeah, so he's 32. I think the combination of him and Calais. Look, Brandon still has a lot of value at the end of the day. I could go into any explanation that you want, but based on those numbers, I think they're getting a good deal.
Yeah.
And so,
well, the only problem is he's got a $14.5 million cap hit. He's the third highest cap hit on the team.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I don't think I see it. I think he's unique in that way, and what he can do. What do you do then? So you just find another Michael Pierce, undrafted, and how do you make up for his absence?
Well, the only other thing you could do is you could extend him because this is the final year of his contract.
Right.
So if you chose to extend him, I'm sure you could lessen his cap impact. You could free up some more space, but then you're committing to him for a few more years. And the thing I always look at is when Brandon Williams isn't on the field and when he is, it's a monster difference in our run defense. I mean, there's a reason why I think it was Earl Thomas was screaming at him last year because he missed a game because it hurt him. I mean, he is impactful in shutting down and dominating that line of scrimmage, whether he gets sacks or not, which I think we all know. What has he got, 3 sacks in his career? He's not going to do it, but there's still teams out in the AFC. When you look at the Browns and what they like to do on the ground, the Titans, they're still going to be relevant and what they like to do on the ground with King Henry. Mm-hmm. I still think there's enough teams out there that rely on their run game that makes Brandon Williams very, very valuable. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing them extend him for a couple of years, maybe 2-year extension past this season. So it'd be a new 3-year deal basically. And divide that up over the next couple of years rather than a $14.5 million cap hit. I could see that. But as far as out and out releasing him, accepting that $7 million dead money after they may have to accept a $10 million dead money if they lose the Earl Thomas,
right?
If they lose the Earl Thomas thing. So I don't think they're going to add $7 million to it after already having 10 from Earl. That would be surprising. So I would have to say no to cutting, but there's definitely a possibility to an extension.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So staying on the Ravens here, the other thing I want to talk about is the coaching staff. We have had a lot of like what I've called like secondary, not the position, but like secondary coaches, positional coaches, I guess, be plucked from our team. So I think his name is Weiss is how you pronounce his last name. He was the running backs coach, and he was taken. Now he's going to be the quarterbacks coach in Michigan. First of all, Jim, will you leave us alone?
I know, right?
Number
John,
one,
quit being so nice to your younger bro.
I know. Like, I get that when you have a younger brother, you have to like be the big brother, but no, Jim, go somewhere else, dude. Like, just because you guys suck and John is good doesn't mean you just copy, you just take all of his people. Come on, Jim, go somewhere else.
Not happy, huh? You're tired.
Yeah, I don't like that. I just don't. So think about what he's doing. He's literally poaching his brother's people and saying, hey, man, I'll give you a better opportunity. Like, he's Karen trying to take Stanley from the Scranton office and pay him more money. Like, it's lame to me because, like, I get it, but he's just trying to offer these guys a better title, maybe some more money, and literally hurting his brother in doing so.
Well, I mean, we don't know how much this is going to impact the Ravens negatively yet. I think they've replaced him with a guy certainly has a lot of experience. I don't know he's a 60-year-old guy. So the worry there is that, there's that generational gap. I think that's a little, but I don't know how much that, I mean, we don't know this guy personally. He could do a very good job in erasing that gap and being very good with his players. I don't know, but he was with the team last year. And he was a senior assistant / running backs coach last year. So it's almost like it was expected for him to leave, for Weiss to leave, because why else would you make him, a part-time running backs coach unless you're expecting him to maybe have to take over. And I think that John Harbaugh's he's so easy when it comes to if a coach has an opportunity to be promoted, he never stands in their way. Not many do, but it seems like he makes a point to make sure if you have an opportunity to better your position, to make more money or to work your way up in the, the coaching world, he lets you go. And I think that's a reason why he gets a lot of top end coaches, because he never stands in their way. And his tree is growing. I mean, every great coach has a tree, like you mentioned, Jimbo. And John Harbaugh's tree, this is how you get one of those crazy trees, by letting Matt Weiss go. Would he be? He's their quarterbacks coach, right?
Yeah, he'll be their quarterbacks coach, exactly.
Which I didn't know was much of an upgrade, but apparently it is. I mean, I didn't know positional coach to positional coach is an upgrade, whether you're D-line or linebacker. So whether he's a running back, I didn't know it was an upgrade, but I guess it is. And let's be honest, Michigan needs help at quarterback, because I think that's the reason they've been so poor since Jim has been there and haven't been able to beat Ohio State yet.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So it sounds like, and that was really going to be my question. Are you concerned about the turnover? And it sounds like you're not too concerned about it at this point. So Craig Versteege is, I think, how you say his name. He makes me think of who's the actor that played the old guy that was in prison forever in The Longest Yard, that goes on the field and does the fumble Rooski.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he passed away recently. Yeah, I believe. Oh, Burt Reynolds. Reynolds.
There you go.
There it is.
That's who he makes me think of, man. When you look at his picture for a second, he's like running out on the field. I'm like, all right.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that comparison, because Burt Reynolds was a stud back in the day.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But yeah, so I'm glad that like you said, I didn't know, in full disclosure, I didn't know about that he was also the assistant running backs coach. So who knows? Maybe he's had a bigger influence in developing Gus and JK than we've even really realized, because we're not flies on the wall, so we don't know all. So it could be a natural transition for him. But I wanna bring up something else as well, Glenn, in that every single mock draft, you actually talked about this 2 days ago, so this kind of spawned my thought. Every single mock draft, somebody has the Ravens pegged to a different position.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to me. And there's, of course, everything from corner to O-line to edge rusher. But we've done this before. But if you had to name the primary spot, is it edge for you? Like, what is the one place where when you start doing your scouting breakdown and your tape and stuff like that, you're pretty sure that the Ravens are going to spend first and second round draft capital?
Man, this is going to be a fluid answer, because as things change, as they
right,
right, it changes. But right now, as it stands right now, man, I'm really concerned with the pass rush. I mean, because right now Orlando's still here, even though we all expect them to go on. But as of right now, pass rush really, really worries me. I think I just don't know who's going to be able to get to the passer, and they're going to have all day. And these talented corners, as good as they are, eventually, I mean, you can only cover a guy for so long.
Yeah, you're set up to lose as a corner.
Yeah, exactly. So that really, really concerns me. But as soon as Orlando's gone, I'm going to be really concerned about right tackle. And I really want to see a weapon added to the offense. But outside of those three, those are the main three areas. Like, I would like to see us improve. And it looks like there's no choice. We're going to improve it. Or we're at least going to make a change at center, because it looks like, who was it? Matt Skura said that he needs a change of scenery.
Right.
And so it looks like he's on his way out the door. And so unless Makari's the only one back and he's under center snapping again, I think we're going to see a change at center. But outside of center, I could see, Bozeman's fine at left guard. I could see one of these young guys that they just recently drafted last year, maybe Power stepped up. I could see them filling in at right guard, but right tackle and center, I don't know who's going to be in there right now. And that worries me. But pass rush to me is such a concern, because I don't care how good your corners are. If you can't influence the passer in any way, unless you have to send 6 or 7, then they're going to struggle. So, man, it's kind of hard to rank as far as necessity, but I guess if I had to, I would say edge number 1.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I didn't think that initially. And in fact, that I've, since last year, have been on the interior offensive line train. But so I agree with you. And I think this is the first time that I've agreed with you on that point.
Yeah.
Really since we started the show, because I've always been about the interior offensive line, but I've been thinking about something lately. And it's my guy, Mr. Gator Arms himself, Bredesen. If you guys remember the draft pick last year, that's right, out of Michigan. So he was a guard. If I'm not mistaken, he was a left guard at Michigan, but also is a certified genius. He has some physical limitations, but I think that based on his ability to, I think that he can lead a group. I think that he can catch on. He was a starter from day one in college, and
very rare at Michigan.
Right. And then became a captain early. So his ability to catch on, to learn concepts is really good. So I'm hoping that, we spent a 4th round draft pick on him.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, think about it. That's higher than Bozeman. Look what Bozeman's been. That's higher than a lot of the other guys. I mean, that's the same grade as Powers.
Jensen,
higher than Jensen. Exactly. So
Ricky Wagner. Yep.
My point in saying that is I hope that when he comes out in camp, he looks bigger, because he can't change the arm length, but he can get bigger, right? That he's been buried in the playbook. Yep. And that he's been learning how to snap the ball reliably. And if those things are true, a lot of ifs, I would be comfortable with him as our starting center.
Well, I imagine he learned that playbook in a few days, just judging by the fact that he has that photographic memory. But yes, he needs to get bigger, he needs to get stronger. And when you have short arms, you have to be darn near perfect with your technique, because you're just limited. These guys are all big, long, and strong, and they will, they'll beat you up. And, I saw someone mentioned interior D-line pass rusher. But the problem with that is a lot of times in guaranteed passing situations, they bring in all their DNs, all their outside linebackers, and they don't necessarily have a D tackle on the field. So they'll bring edge guys in and make you block an edge guy inside. And a lot of times they'll spread them out to where you're darn near on an island out there and you can't get a whole lot of help from your guards. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, but I think that if anyone can overcome shorter arms, it's a guy that has all the other things that he does have, which is the smarts, the toughness, he's strong. He's got all the other stuff. He just needs to perfect his technique, because them short arms are going to hurt him.
Yeah, and so we saw a couple times that they were trying him out, and they had pictures of it and some videos of it during camp at center and things like that. And even in warm-ups and stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting. And so I guess what I'm saying is that I don't think you would, but all of you guys out there watching, I would say if Bredesen comes out and is our starting center, I would say don't panic. Give him a chance, because we spent high capital for the Ravens. We spent a 4th round draft pick on him. And so that means we believe in him. So I'm believing in him if we see him in that situation enough to where for the first time in this show, I'm coming off of my priority number 1 is interior offensive line. And I agree with you. We are much more desperate at edge. I mean, my goodness.
Unless look, this could all change very quickly if one of those two guys is re-signed or any of that stuff. But as of right now, it's just a bare cupboard, and that's got me worried. So I don't know. I'm hopeful, but as you were also mentioning, oh wow, it just came out. Tiger has 2 leg fractures and a shattered ankle. Yeah. So your boy Tiger took a beating. Tyree Phillips, I think he should go to the weight room and to the practice field. That's where he should go. He should just continue to practice and maybe turn. And look, if tackle doesn't work out, he's got to slide inside the guard, but he's not going anywhere as far as leaving the Ravens.
The most he would go is to guard. He's not. I mean, his body type is not center.
No.
We want to utilize that length as much as possible, and that athleticism and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, the other thing I wanted to bring up, Jimbo, is behind those guys, the running back room, because I saw a recent interview where I saw the transcript from the recent interview with J.K. Dobbins, and he is awfully confident. Not that he lacked confidence coming out last year, because he certainly didn't. But what do you think when he says, just trust me, feed me the ball? He seems so confident that he can handle it. Does this, I know you're a Gus guy. Does this, with this amount of, a confidence, I guess, make you think maybe we could allow a guy like Gus to test the market and maybe save a couple pennies and not have Gus back? Because it's going to cost a couple dollars. But do you believe in JK enough to where he can handle the full workload?
Yeah, it's not that I don't believe in him, but there's a couple things that are going against him. One is that our running backs are similar to, we require the same thing, just like with our D linemen last year, the depth where guys are going in and out. We run the ball. So what I'm trying to say is that volume wise, it's not good for him or his career. Like, sure, you want us to run you to the ground? Okay, right. We'll run you to the ground and you will never get another contract, right? Because you will be all out of tread on the tires by the time you're done, right? So I understand what he's saying, but I don't think it's worth, and it's exactly what you said, pennies and trying to save it. I understand it's going to cost some money to get Gus, but when you're talking about return on investment, I said this to you before, Gus Edwards has only behind, or sorry, he's second in the league, first in the league with the highest percentage in conversions first down. So what I mean is that 1 out of 3 times, 33, a little under 33% that Gus Edwards touches the ball, first down, Baltimore Ravens. Crazy. That's insane. So to me, Gus is too good. The volume of carries is too high for our running back room. It's always going to be running back committee back there. And we want to be diverse in our attack, right? To where JK brings something different than Gus and Gus brings something different than JK. I think that the better Gus does, the easier it is for JK. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there's a lot of synergy between the two. It's a symbiotic relationship. And so I understand what he's saying. I like the confidence, but I don't think it's what's best for him. And I don't think it's what's best for the Ravens, especially when you're talking about a guy like Gus that has done nothing but exceed expectations since he's come in the league.
Yeah, no, he's no doubt about that. I think if it was a different team that doesn't run the ball more than any other team, then maybe you could get away with just one guy back there, but not this team. This team needs at least 2 guys. And I think 2 guys that could, if need be, handle the workload of a full game. But, just for a 1 or 2 game sample size if the other one's dinged up. But
now let me ask you this question real quick.
Yeah.
Glenn, who do you have more, honestly, as far as longevity goes, who do you have more confidence in? If you had to go in with one back the whole year, I'm taking Gus over JK. Not that Gus is better, but I'm talking about like he's going to stay healthy. He's going to produce. He's going to churn. He's going to get yards. Only because he's physically unique. Gus is huge.
Yeah. I think that I would say Gus has the higher floor, but JK has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, certainly.
So I guess it just depends on, I think I would shoot for the stars and go JK, but I would not argue with you if you went Gus because he's so consistent. He gets better every single year. So there's no reason to expect that won't change this year or that will change this year. So I expect him to be better. And it's just been impressive, man. And something about him and Lamar, that lightning and thunder, it was special right from the start. And I think it's always special anytime they're both in the game together. So yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll bring them back. But I see somebody mention, who was it a little bit earlier that, there goes Tim. Unlike Roman, Wink is a great utilizer of talent. We got to get Lamar an O-line so he can do it all again with Roman. I don't, I agree that Roman may struggle with getting his outside guys involved, but I think he does wonders for offensive line, for tight ends. I mean, look what is Pat, as much as we love Pat Ricard, how valuable is he in most offenses in this league? He's probably not very valuable, but in ours, he's extreme. So
only ours and with Sean Payton. Like those are the only guys that would find ways to use, just because Sean Payton can utilize anyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, I agree with you that he struggles with getting the outside guys involved, but, I mean, just remember what Ronnie Stanley was, before and then after. So, and I know Lamar had a big part to do with that, and he had a big part to do with all these guys, but he's had some success elsewhere. He did lead the Niners to the Super Bowl, if anyone remembers.
If anyone remembers.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to talk about, some more of that draft because I think there's a lot of people stepping up. We both mentioned what we want in the first round. So let's talk about if that first round option is done, say they get an edge guy, they get a 6'6", 265-pound outside linebacker who fits the bill and looks like a Raven. In the second round, I'm seeing a lot of people are hoping that we get that NFL ready. I see Adam says he wants an NFL ready wide receiver day 2. He wants Rashad Bateman or Elijah Moore. Both of them who went off in their final seasons. So what are your thoughts on the second round, not the second day, or I'm sorry, it is second day. Now that the first day is only the first round, but what do you think about the second round? What were you hoping or what position are you hoping they go after?
Yeah, you guys are going to hate me for this one, man. But I'm
Oh,
not
no.
that concerned about the wide receiver position. I think it's about improving what we have with the coaching staff, being more efficient, like Eric DaCosta said, using what we have. Let's see what we have. Look, somebody said it earlier. They were sitting there watching Duvernay highlights, and they're like, "Why are we not playing this guy?" Let's let's squeeze every drop of juice out of the guys we have before we go investing high value draft picks in a position that we might already be tapped out on, not in talent, but you've said, I mean, how many people are we going to keep? We've already got at least 4 locks, at least, if not 5.
At least 4. And if you look at our comments section, people keep reminding us about Ben Victor and Deion Kane. So if those two make the team, that's 6. You're done.
Right. Yeah. So for me, I totally get it. The Ravens are so hungry for that guy, but I'm hoping, I think it's a higher likelihood that Marquise develops into that guy, or even Duvernay takes off. Eric DaCosta compared him to Steve, I was about to say Stephen A. Smith. Jeez, with Steve Smith. And I think he did that on purpose. So what I'm trying to say is that I think in the second round, that is where obviously I want to go O-line. I want to go O-line. I want to get a right tackle, and we'll get to Orlando and talk about a little bit of an update there here in a little bit. But yeah, so for me, edge, O-line, first round, second round. I don't know. I'm just not there on a wide receiver. I'm not hitting the panic button.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I only see room for maybe one guy.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could squeeze 2 in, but that would mean you get rid of Ben Victor and Deion Kane, which they haven't invested much in. And I wouldn't be shocked to see both of those guys, get released or eventually get cut. But a lot of fans seem to see a lot of hope in them. But if they let go of those guys, it's only 2 spots. We're expecting maybe a vet, because right now I don't think you want a room where your most veteran player is Marquise Brown. So,
yeah, no, you need to bring a vet in for sure.
So if you bring a vet in, that's 1 spot. So then if it's this guy Bateman, if he's still available, then that's it. That's the only guy you can bring in. So I think it's just a really curious time. Now, I would not be necessarily disappointed Miles Boykin was lost out on competition for his job and was eventually let go. I think I'd be a little bit surprised because it's just his 3rd year. And they did invest a high pick in him. So I do think he'll end up getting at least this year, but there's just not a lot of room for him. So I just don't know where they're going to fit a guy. So that's why I'm hoping that they go after a tight end instead of a wide receiver, because
that's
I
what
think,
I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, Roman's shown he can use those guys. He can use them and make them some serious. I mean, look, he turned Hurst into a second-round pick that turned out to be Devin Duvernay. He made Nick Boyle much money?
JK.
Oh, JK. He made Nick Boyle how much money? I mean, by increasing his value.
How much money is Andrews going to make? I mean,
he's going to get paid. So yeah. I think that the chances now, I want us to have a number 1. I think it's a stain on the organization that they have yet to develop a Pro Bowl wide receiver. I just do. I mean, I think it's disappointing. It's mind-blowing to me when you look at every other position, how much they've, had success. And then wide receiver, Torrey Smith, we love Torrey, but 1,127 yards, I think, is the record for a receiver. That's not good in today's day and age. So I'm hopeful that they can eventually draft a guy, but I just don't see, as Moneyman puts up, Marvin Jones. Oh, hold on. Marvin Jones and Bateman. So that means you're getting rid of. Hold up. So I guess you don't believe anything in Deion Kane and Ben Victor, which I understand that. I'll give you that. But man, that would be a good room. I wouldn't be mad at that room, money man. I would not be mad at all. But I just don't know how much Marvin Jones is going to ask, and if they want to take Bateman in the first round, because it seems like, according to everyone else, he's going to be gone in the second.
Yeah. I think it's much more likely, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens go 2 tight ends in the draft. I could see us going heavy there, even though we've got guys, even though, that would be, I think, 5 tight ends or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that might be a little much.
Last year at one point we had 1 because of injury. So all I'm trying to say is that if we're going to go heavy anywhere, I think it's going to be a tight end. I think maybe you take some responsibility off of Ricard, and you have 4 solid options at tight end. And maybe they let Tomlinson go if they spend some draft capital there. But I can see that, let's see here. I can see that Brinks 5200 has been brushing up on some Spanish. That's it's pretty awesome though. That's right. He noticed that I spoke Spanish last time and left a comment. So
I gotta know I think somebody
he's
put
saying that Duvernay is
exactamundo.
gonna be exactamundo.
Is that a word?
Exactamente. No.
Oh, okay.
I mean it's like no. Exactamente is what you're trying to say, but no. But he said Duvernay is gonna be number one. Duvernay va a ser número uno. That's pretty awesome. You're doing good. You're staying on the right track. So that's
Look
pretty
at
awesome. Shout out, man.
Oh, and by the way, Adam, or I think who said it first? I want to give the credit. Asmodeus Thanatos. Boykin. Yeah, we've been asking Boykin if he wants to put on a couple LBs and move to tight end for a couple years now, because we did not like what we saw of him out of his rookie season, despite a really good camp and preseason. Mm-hmm. And last year, I mean, he's just not impressive. I mean, he's a good blocker, so why not move the guy to tight end? He's certainly got the height, and I think he could reasonably put on some weight, maybe 20, 25 pounds, and he could make it happen. So
hold on for a second. I got to defend my comments real quick.
Okay.
Because apparently I'm tripping right now about the two tight ends.
You are tripping about two tight ends in the draft.
I'm not tripping about the
He's
two tight ends.
He's tripping. I agree with y'all.
Let me tell you why. Nick Boyle did you see the injury? I understand that we paid him, but did you see the injury? It was disgusting. It was hard to watch.
He's a caveman. He's back in there.
Yeah, but you don't know what he's going to be, and you really don't know. You can do all the examinations you want. So that's number one. Number two, Mark Andrews, I think the chances of him leaving are ridiculously low, but at the end of the day, he could go get the bag. We could have to spend a franchise tag, whatever the case may be. Number three, Pat Ricard kind of counted as a tight end last year. So the way I see it is we have Andrews, Tomlinson, and Boyle, and then I think we have Wolf and
I don't think Breland's with us anymore. I think it's just Wolf.
So we have Wolf. Okay, great. Wolf and Tomlinson don't count to me. They're like bubble guys, right? So you got Andrews, Tomlinson, and Boyle. Wait, didn't I just say Tomlinson didn't count?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I agree. Yeah.
So you got two. What we've done it in the past. All I'm saying is that if any offense is gonna go get two tight ends, it's gonna be the Ravens. If we could get one in the third and one in the sixth, but I would not be shocked. People probably said the same exact thing when we went after Dennis Pitta and Ed Dixon. That worked out.
Or Mark Andrews and
Hayden Hurst. Like, why did you get a guy in the third? You just spent your highest pick on Hayden Hurst, higher than Lamar Jackson. So all I'm saying is that I would not be surprised if you're going to invest in anywhere. I mean, we have those guys on the field the most. So
I love this comment. I want our next center to play center in high school, center in college, and sleep with a football under his pillow.
Me too, man.
Not a converted undrafted free agent from Duke or Cal. Yeah, we're done with seeing snaps go over Lamar's head or him having to make heroic catches, pull the ball down, and then hope he looks up and doesn't see a pass rush in his face. We agree. We want to see some capital put towards the center position, even though they did nail it on a guy like Ryan Jensen. We understand that they have hit late in the draft on guys before, but at some point when you just keep throwing undrafted and late round draft picks at the center position, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah,
just like
right.
So until you want to start, investing a little bit more capital, whether that's through the draft or free agency, then you run the risk of possibly getting what you've gotten lately, and that's poor snapping and really not much from the pass block. I mean, I think that Makari he developed as he went, and I think Skura had moments where he was good at both. But it's moments. I mean, so if you want consistent high-level play from the center, then you got to pay for it, whether that's through the draft or free agency.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, just like the saying goes, you can only shine poop for so long, right?
That's right.
Like at the end of the day, it's still poop.
Yeah, that's what they say. Now,
so
I'm seeing that Bruno's saying it's a bad tight end class, though, Jimbo. So I guess we have to look more into the draft.
And that's what we're going to do.
We're not going to, you're not
saying absolutely. My only point is that I don't think that I'm tripping to say that a position that we have on the field at certain times, three of the same position on the field at one time, in an offense that is so run heavy, that is so geared towards tight ends being successful, with a quarterback that loves to throw up the middle of the field, that we would take two tight ends.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into Tomlinson being much more than just
Right.
a poor man's Nick Boyle is what really he is. And I think you're right. He's brought in as an insurance policy for if
Right.
Nick Boyle isn't ready to go, especially if he's not ready to go in camp. You need bodies, and they invested so little in him. They could obviously cut him if they drafted. I would absolutely be thrilled to see if they get a top tight end, but I think everyone's saying it right. Pitts is definitely expected to go in the top 10.
Yeah.
And I don't know a whole lot after that. I mean, again, we haven't really dove headfirst into the draft just yet, but we definitely will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be thrilled to see us get a tight end, especially a two-way tight end, a tight end that can block and can stretch the field vertically up the seam. I would be absolutely Zach Ertz, absolutely money
Yeah.
man.
We've been talking on him ad nauseum, right?
We've been saying, I mean, look, the Ravens tried it last year, it looked like, to make a move for him, and he ended up getting banged up, so it didn't work out. But I think that Zach Ertz will be a great ad. I don't see him going to Indy now that the trade for Carson Wentz is complete. I think if you were going to make a move there, you package them both. Why make two separate trades weeks apart to the same team? I think that would be a little bit goofy. And honestly, they probably feel like a little bit like they didn't really get what they could have for Carson Wentz, and the Indy kind of stuck to their guns. And so I don't know how willing they are to even continue that relationship, because unless they think they can then fleece them for Ertz and then recoup some of the capital that they didn't get from Wentz. But I think he would be a great ad. And in the Philadelphia, we already have a relationship with them. We've already made moves with them. And John has been there, was there for a long time. So yeah, I think that would be an awesome addition.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to change gears. I'm keeping on your toes here tonight, Glenn. So I want to phrase it this way. We kind of talked a little about the draft. I want to go back to free agency, and I want to phrase my question like this. I don't want to talk about players, just players right now. I want to talk things that will happen. So if you had to say in free agency with the Ravens, 3 things that will happen, right? Whether it's a retention, whether it's a signing, and doesn't have to be a person. Like, for example, I'll give you my 3 things.
Okay.
In free agency, I believe that the Ravens will bring in a veteran center.
Okay.
I also believe that the Ravens will bring in a veteran wide receiver.
Okay.
Lastly, I believe that the Ravens will sign a bubble starter at corner. Bubble starter, a special teams guy.
Okay. So like, who was it that we lost to New England?
Oh, geez. Bethel.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
someone like him?
Yeah. And it'll be all over the Baltimore Ravens website. Like, it's a huge deal.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. You think they would go?
Those are things that I feel most confident about.
Yeah, I think that if I had to, and this is just free agency, right? This is
just free
draft.
agency, right? Exactly.
I think they bring in a tackle, 100%, a veteran tackle, and I think that's day one, because I think it's obvious Brown is gone, and it was a disaster at tackle for Tyree Phillips.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that is, we remember when we were trying to look at like cap casualties and stuff like that. Is that tackle was always so thin, right? But I think that'd be great to do.
I'm hoping that they can go convince Ricky Wagner to play one more season and come home to Baltimore. But yeah, what is Bobby Massey? I mean, I don't know, but yeah, maybe this is more my hope list, but I'm going to stick to my expectations list.
All right.
So yeah, veteran tackle. Excuse me. I think a veteran wide receiver. I agree with you there. I don't agree with corner, even though, as someone mentioned that, and I actually screen capped it, that there was the rumor that Patrick Peterson was being connected to the Ravens. And for a guy that I think catches some grief because he's not the Patrick Peterson he once was,
right?
He's still a darn good player, and a guy who will be a fantastic ad. But I think at this point in his career, I just don't know. I don't know, because I think what we would be looking for is a slot guy, a guy that can fill in when Tavon inevitably gets injured and doesn't in that way. Because also Jimmy Smith, I mean, as much as we know how much he impacts on the field, he gets dinged up a lot. And if both of those guys are dinged up, then it throws them off. It makes Humphrey have to go inside and all this stuff. So I think that they do bring in I just don't see how they
Richard
have room.
Sherman, I don't think is happening.
No, Richard Sherman doesn't fit our style.
Money.
He's a zone corner. He's a cover three. Corner. Yeah, he's a cover three deep. He's a cover three corner. So we play man here in Baltimore. He doesn't fit that at all, which is why he gets a lot of criticism, despite the fact that I think he's a sure Hall of Famer with the amount of success he's had. Sure, he's been in the same system because when he left Seattle, he went to the Niners and they ran the exact same system. So he did one thing, but he did it really well, and he came up and supported the run really well. So I don't think we should really criticize him too much, but I don't think he fits as a Raven at all. And I look at the corners, Jimmy, and I see Peters, right? I see Peters. I see
man. That would be a fun signing, though, right?
Who?
Peterson. Sorry, Patrick.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would like him.
I apologize. I thought that's where you were going.
No, I'm just looking at. I see Peters. I see Humphrey. I see Tavon Young. I see Anthony Averett, right?
Yep.
Is Biggie still here? Iman Marshall?
Yeah.
As far as I know, I think he's still here, right?
Yep.
So right there, that's 5. How many corners do they typically keep?
6, right?
So that means, so you're, man, I don't know how much they're going to spend on that 6 corner, even if he ends up being elevated to 4th or ahead of Averett, whatever it may be. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot, dude, I forgot Jimmy Smith. So that's 6 right there. I got 6. So, I mean, look, if you want to tell me Iman Marshall doesn't make the team, that's not going to shock me.
Right.
Tavon can't get cut. I'm sorry, guys. I looked at the cap numbers. This is the last year he'll be a Raven unless he has a miraculous year and stays healthy. But I don't think there's any way they can cut him because of the quarter or because of the numbers. I don't see how they can cut the guy. What is it if on over the cap, Jimbo? See if you can help me out with this. When it shows the cap savings, it is in red for this year for him, and it's in parentheses. So it makes me think that's not good.
Yeah, that would mean there are no cap savings.
So you're adding 3.3 on top of the 9.3 dead money.
So usually anything accounting wise, that's this.
Yeah, that's not good, right?
No.
So
yeah, if
he would cost us around $12.5 million to not play for us if they cut him.
I'm gonna check on Spot Track too.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think contractually they can get rid of him even if they wanted to. I think the next year they absolutely could because they would save almost $6 million and only cost them 3.3 in dead money. So I think that there would definitely be a consideration next year, but I don't see it. I don't see it being. But yeah, so I don't see how they bring in a DB. Because there's just a numbers game.
Point.
Yeah, it's just I don't see it from a number standpoint. But yeah, I'm hoping. So my third one is going to be an edge guy, and I could be cheating because it's probably going to end up being some familiar faces. Because I do agree that Pernell McPhee will be returning. I'm not 100% sure about Bowser, but I would say Bowser's ahead of Unique and Judon just because his price tag is half of theirs. So yeah, I think they're gonna have to do something on the edge, whether it's a low level guy, maybe a guy who only leans heavy on one way, like maybe he's just a run stuffing outside guy, or he's just a pass rusher. Because I don't think they're gonna be willing to spend a lot of money in that position unless it's JJ, which it doesn't look like it's gonna be.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, no,
Harrison Smith? Are you kidding me, Adam? That would be fantastic. Rumors are that he might get cut. Now, I like the other safety that they just cut, Harris,
right?
Who was the number 1 rated safety last year or 2 years ago in 19, and then he was the number 3 rated safety in 18. Now he had some injuries in 20, so he struggled. But either one of the safeties from Minnesota, I would be thrilled. Yeah, exactly.
Now I gotta shout out real quick, Michel, crossover NFL, because we've had him on the show before. That he is from the Ravens fan club in Spain. And so, Michel, I think you're a little crazy for the $12 million to Judon. I don't think there's any way he takes $12 million to stay here in Baltimore. I think that's what you meant when you said, I think Judon stays at home for $12 million. I don't think there's a chance that he makes anything under $15 million per annum moving forward. So I would be shocked if he's at a $12 million number. And then also you mentioned franchise tagging. This is a good transition, Glenn, because the tag here, there is some rumors that if the Ravens tag anyone, it's going to be Ngakoue. And I say, heck no. Not that the guy's not worth anything, but I'm not Dude, I think he would happily take the tag because I don't think he's.
Well, I don't think he would happily because he was not happy he didn't get an extension in Jacksonville.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with Jacksonville, not just the money. Maybe it all had to do with money.
Competing, yeah.
Right. So, no, I don't think I don't think the Ravens utilize the tag on Ngakoue. I don't think you do it. Because we're gonna get a comp pick back. So I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think the only way either one of these two return is if it's just a fluke year because of the cap being so low and so many teams don't have a lot of space that they sign a 1 or 2 year prove it deal and still hit when they can and still get a big boatload. But even then, I think that's a long shot. I think both, as Chris Madry, if he's correct, and I think he mentioned that Jamison Hensley or something reported this, that Judon turned down a $16.5 million deal.
I was looking for that, and I didn't find that anywhere. So if you can link that in the chat, I don't know if you did, Glenn. I didn't see it anywhere.
I didn't see it, but I wouldn't be shocked to hear he turned it down because is that what he made this past year? Was
16.8, and maybe I wonder if he's referencing prior to this last season. I wonder if that's what the deal on the table was before the tag. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then maybe he's, maybe after he tests free agency and hears from his agent that, maybe that nobody's willing to go near that. And he does sign one more year here in Baltimore because at least he knows what he's getting here in Baltimore. He's not going to have a huge workload. I looked at his snap percentage he'd be wise to stay here if he can make it work. And he doesn't get a boatload of money from someone else. If he gets a big contract, and yeah, by all means, go get your money like Pernell McPhee did when he left and signed, I think, with Chicago.
Yep.
A bunch of years ago. So yeah, absolutely go get your money because, this is a short career. So what's up, Connor Shields? Appreciate it. I think that you go get your money. I would be stunned if either one of these two are back because how do you even make a case? Say you're Unique's agent and you go to the front office.
Right.
How do you even make a case that's not purely hypothetical? Like all he can do is say, if my guy had more time in your system, if my guy was here in the off season and was able to practice with you guys and get with the coaching staff, get his head in the playbook and knew the whole playbook. It's all based on hypotheticals because when he was actually here, people can point to how he came close a bunch of times but he didn't actually do much when he was here. So I don't know how he could ever go in and convince Eric DeCosta to give him $17 million a year with what he actually did. I don't get it. Yeah,
no, I'm with you there. I don't think that the Ravens are too pressed to bring him back.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think they're all right with. And
he doesn't play to run well.
Right. And I think they'll be all right. Take third round comp pick and say, hey, man, appreciate your services. Good luck.
The spirit of Ogun, I don't know. I don't know who the heck is going to be.
Right.
That's the scary part. I don't know who the heck is left. There's not a whole lot left.
And the thing is that it's not only that, who are we going to replace them both with, but the fact that it's very unlikely, if not downright impossible now to afford them both. It's only going to be one if we keep
it's definitely only one. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So unless there's some crazy cap maneuvering and restructuring or cutting or whatever the case may be, we literally can't afford to keep them both. So it's already a one or the other type situation. Mm-hmm. So what do you think you think if the Ravens say they had the money to get one of them, you think they would go Unique? No, I think they go Judon. They take their guy. I think because he's more of a well-rounded player. And now the only thing about Judon, that I hate is that he's good for one roughing the passer or one 15-yard penalty, like 0.8 a game. Yeah. Right. Yep. That's the only thing. And it drives me crazy when I see a tight end handle him. I know that sometimes he beats the tight end. He does often, but there's also times where they block him single up with a tight end and the tight end wins the battle enough to where it's a successful play. And that is just frustrating. But Adam, LJ Fort did play well. We love LJ, but that's a totally different position than Unique. They're not the same. He's going to be in there helping Patrick Queen, helping Malik Harrison, but he's not going to be rushing from the edge. That's just not his game. I think that the way that we address in free agency, if we are going to address the edge position, we will get older inevitably,
Mm-hmm.
because the only way,
Unless Hassan Reddick.
right? But the only way I think we get enough bodies, right, to run the way Wink wants to is we're probably going to have to get a little older. Now I think that we'll do a combination of the two. We'll get some older guys, but then also we'll bring in some young guys in the draft. And I'm excited about that. I understand a lot of people are panicking, and I get it. And I just made it my number one priority when I've been talking about O-line for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But if we do it in the draft, I have confidence that between the draft and free agency, we'll go into the season in a good position. I'm not going to say great, but I will feel confident in who we have. Maybe that's because I drink the purple Kool-Aid, but I believe in our front office that if between free agency and the draft, that is a high priority, I think they will get it done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when you look at them compared to other teams, they're not in that bad of a spot, the Ravens. They're actually in a pretty good spot compared to other teams. There's those outliers out there that have monster cap room, but a lot of those teams aren't really competitive. So it really depends on what you're looking for as a free agent.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, think about, I wonder if you could ask CJ Mosley, he got a monster deal from the Jets.
Oh, monster.
But
and
I
he's
think
never really played.
I think he's only played
4 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's only been like 2 or 4 or something crazy like that. 51 million guaranteed just for signing the paper. So, and then, so for him, he's playing for a dumpster fire of a team, which has got to be miserable. But not only that, they don't like the contract. So like, I wonder, I say this all the time, when will guys learn that winning matters? Getting paid matters. Your job is to make as much money as you can. But let me sit here today and tell you that there's nothing worse than getting paid and having to get up in the morning and hate everything about what you do.
Right.
Like, you got to get paid a lot of money, and even still, it's not fun.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, especially when all you're doing is rehabbing, which is what unfortunately he's been doing, is just trying to fight back from injury. But I mean, I guess when he went there, he would have never guessed that the losing would have gotten as bad as it has in New York. But I mean, look, I think that they're definitely on the right track. They hired Robert Salah from the Niners. I think they got a good front office put together now with who's the guy who came from the Ravens? He's there now. I'm blanking on his name.
Shoot, so am I.
The GM, but yeah,
he's the big guy.
He spent a lot of time here in Baltimore, which is probably why they get a lot of former Ravens. But I think that they still got to figure out. Joe
Douglas.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Douglas. He was here a lot in Baltimore. I don't know if what they really truly have in Sam Darnold. I don't like that he turns the ball over the amount he does, but then he has moments, flashes of greatness. I mean, I saw him trucking people, scrambling and trucking people at the goal line and going in the end zone and making fantastic passes. So I don't know. I guess it's a wait and see, for the quarterback position. But yeah, I think if he could what do you think? If he could go back in time, do you think he'd
take the deal the Ravens had for him?
Because I think the Ravens were making a fair deal. It just wasn't the monster deal that New York was giving him.
I think he takes it.
Yeah.
I think he stays.
Because he certainly had a lot of success here.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when we're 14-2, he's sitting at home. I mean, that's gotta sting, Yeah.
Now I like sports dreads. I like your wish list. I like Corey Davis. I would love the Zach Ertz trade, and I like the Creed Humphrey. But Malik Hooker, to me, if you could guarantee me that he's going to be healthy, then yeah. But at this point, I don't count on him playing that many games if he were to come here. Now, I think the Ravens do a fantastic job in keeping their guys healthier than most teams with all the money and resources that they throw into it, trying to make sure, they went all grass fields everywhere. They've done everything they can to make it as healthy as possible environment. But Malik Hooker just hasn't shown enough to stay on the field. And if you're not on the field, you're not going to help us.
Right. No, absolutely. I got to give Tim Oates a shout out, man. You're making me blush over here. It's just one of those things, Glenn. You know how it goes when you've been with someone for a while.
Hold on, Tim. You were just criticizing him about his 5 tight ends.
Look. You know how it goes, though, Glenn. When you've been with someone for a while, you know how. If you're in a room with your spouse and you see somebody say something that is a trigger for your spouse, you already know how they're going to react. You could bet your life on it, right?
Yeah.
When I've had an emotional relationship with the Ravens for so long. Yeah. You know what's going to happen. I know that You know what I mean? Signing older guys with injury history, and it's kind of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And look, I'm okay with it because we are an extremely competitive football team all the time. We draft super well, but I don't get overly bummed about not getting the sexy free agents, right? About not making the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Eric DaCosta is going to be even more hesitant to do that because of what happened with Earl Thomas. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he came in and backed up the truck and it bit him in the butt, right?
Yep. Yeah, and then I see there's a couple other Derwin James. I don't think the Chargers are going to part with Darwin James. I mean, that guy, when he's on the field, he's a star. Another guy that has a lot of injury issues, so that's a concern. But I think the star power he brings, the talent he brings on the field, you got to stick it out with him at least through his rookie deal. And I don't think I don't think they're willing to get rid of him. Now, Mike Williams, perfect. He is exactly what the Ravens need. We've talked about him on the show, the way he high points the ball. I mean, he is just absolutely ideal for what they need on the outside. But the cost, I just don't know. I don't know if they can fit him in here, because even if they get him, what are they going to have to pay the guy? I mean, it's not like, I don't know. He's not going to come for that cheap. And even if he is, I thought he was a free agent, but I think I might be mistaken. I think Mike Williams might still be under.
Well, no, he has. Yeah. So the only reason you talked about him being a free agent is because there's a high likelihood that he's going to get released.
Okay.
Because he's 11 and change. No, he's more than that. I think he's 14 and change towards their cap. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 5th year of his rookie deal, and they've paid Keenan Allen a boatload of money, and they have other priorities other than wide receiver. Now, the only thing that could, make it more likely that he stays around is that Hunter Henry looks to be out as well.
And this is why. Yeah, they got to cut him. I mean,
right.
they can free up on $15.5 million in cap space with zero dead money.
Right. So,
yeah, that makes sense. But even then, if they cut him, what's his valuation?
Yeah, Adam 78. He's not guaranteed that money.
No, and he's getting 9. His valuation right now is 9 a year. I don't know if the Ravens can afford that. So even if they, I don't know how they could do it.
As a quick aside here, do you take him or Corey Davis
if they're both healthy and same price?
Yeah, well, if their valuation sound the same, right? Corey's 9.8.
Yeah, very, very similar. Man, that's a tough one, Jimbo.
Dude, Mike Williams all day, baby.
Mike Williams, if I'm not mistaken, has had injury concerns too. I remember in Clemson, he had his neck injury that was worrisome in the draft. Let's see, statistically. Yeah, I know. Well, I can't go by this number here because it said he played 25 games in 2018, so I don't think that's possible. But yeah, I mean, if they were both healthy and they're playing at the top of their game, yeah, definitely Mike Williams. And look, I mean, Corey Davis had some injury concerns. He was staying on the sideline last year on this. So if they were both healthy and the price was the same, I would go with Mike Williams. But I would like to see Corey Davis here as well. I wouldn't be upset about that. I think he fits, but I don't know if there's many people in the league that high point a ball as good as Mike Williams. That guy goes after it, puts his body on the line. I've seen him land on the back of his head countless times going up between 2-3 defenders and comes down with it. So, I really like him, but I just don't know if they can afford him.
Yeah, it's a really good thing there's no reset button on the back of your head, right?
Yeah.
Because
he'd be going night-night.
Yeah, that would be bad. No, absolutely. I'm obviously in the same camp as you. Mike Williams is the guy, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens here in as free agency creeps closer and closer. Now, there's another. Let me see who said it. Man, I might have lost it. Okay, here we go. Marcel Allen said this free agency second wave there's going to be some very good players we could pick up. That's going to cost a lot less. You know what? Talking about having a beat on the Ravens, you already know, man. And I appreciate you gauging your expectations correctly, because the second wave is where we live. Right. Yeah.
Second wave and cap casualties. So even if they are cheaper, if they're going to count against our compensatory formula, then I think that notches it. But lately they've been signing like one of those guys. They signed Earl that cost them. They've been signing one guy, I think, that's cost them. But so, yeah, I think that there's a shot to get one of them guys, but I don't know. Like Kenny Golladay, I think he's too expensive. I just don't know. I think you're going to end up having a shot bargain bin, which is AJ Green or one of these. And I know you like AJ. I didn't like what I saw out of him. I thought he looked like he gave up, but I understand your point that, look where he was at. He was playing in Cincy. He probably has given up there. I mean, Dunlap was begging to get out of there after 10 years too. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be something to watch for. I mean, AJ Green, man, it's so hard to say I don't want him because of how good he was for how many years, how much he crushed the Ravens, but he just looks bad these last couple. Well, really last year.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And he's got the injury concerns, stuff like that. So Glenn, I want to change gears here, unless you have something on the top of your mind. And I really want you guys to participate. We've done a lot of breakdown hypotheticals and things like that. I want to do something a little bit more fun, and not that this isn't fun, but like a little bit more entertaining. All right. So you and I have talked about this idea, and so I'm just going to throw it at you here live on the show.
Oh, great.
All right. So I want to do some hypotheticals here, and I want your answers. Okay.
Okay.
If you had to get in a bar fight with one Raven, and not in history, they have to be on the current roster. Well, like last year's team, free agent, whatever, pending.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you want to be fighting along your side in a bar fight?
Oh, so, with me? I thought you were saying who I think it could be.
No, with you.
Say no one.
No, not even Justin Tucker. I saw him in the Towson Mall. He would kick my trash.
Yeah. Imagine if he kicked you. Imagine a leg kick from Justin Tucker. He'd break your twig in half.
Oh, he would end my family tree in one foul swoop. I mean,
yeah. No. To answer your question, no doubt in my mind, Pernell McPhee. That guy,
I like it.
That guy's hands are so violent in the pass rush and in that D line. I can only imagine what he would do if he puts balled up them fists and started slugging. I mean, he is an intimidating force, and I would want him on my side. Although I see Casper says Project Pat. I wouldn't be mad about that either. That's 310 pounds of pure muscle. But I would have to go Pernell McPhee because he scares the bejesus out of me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to see your Pernell McPhee, and I'm going to look, he has the Warrior in his Twitter handle.
Nigel?
No, DJ Fluker is just a mammoth of a man. I mean, he was pushing 390, I think, when he was in Seattle.
He's a big guy.
So I'm going with DJ Fluker because I'm trying to get out of Dodge.
You want that get off the bus intimidation. Right when he steps off the bus, it's like
who's even going to step to us? Right? Like, I mean, look at the guy.
Yeah.
What would be the point?
His reach is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine like in the longest, remember the big giant guy shows up in the longest yard?
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, he's just so much bigger than everyone else.
Yep.
I mean, he's got to consume a room. I saw.
These comments are funny because I could see Joker flying across
the
dash somebody because he runs fearlessly towards.
And he just breaks all the tables.
Yeah, just takes out everything.
I
agree. Calais Campbell, that's a good ad too. But and honestly, I thought he was a little. Until that Titans game, do you remember that Titans post-game interview? How hyped and how jacked up he still was.
Yeah.
I would follow him into a fight as well. So yeah, I guess I'd have to put him right behind Pernell because Pernell is darn right terrifying.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna turn this one on its. We're gonna look at the other side of the coin. You're in a dark alley and you have to fight your way out.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you not want to see on the other side of that alley as the last boss before you win the game, right? Like, you're about to win the game. You got to get out of the alley. Who do you not want to fight?
Well, I mean, it's the same answer.
Well, okay. Who would you want there?
Oh, who I might be able to get past?
Yeah.
I mean, as Tim Ott says, I think he was still talking about the last question, but I think it might be Joe Flacco, and not because I think I could beat him, but because I could convince him that he doesn't care enough because he seems to just not care about stuff. And I could be like, you don't mind me going over there, Joe, do you? And he'd be like, yeah, you're right. You go ahead. Like, I think I could convince him because there's no one on the team that I'm going past if they don't want me to. I mean, yeah, I'm tall. But that's where it ends. I mean, I'm 6'3" of veal. I mean, I have very little muscle. Okay, so
He just cut himself a meal.
And no stamina. So if you have that combination where you have, I can't come out the gate strong and I'm going to die like very soon into it, just out of exhaustion. So I'd have to try and outsmart someone. So I'd have to go because Joe is always like football player. You know, this ain't that hard. You know, he's always like downplaying everything. They're like, how's it feel playing here? It's just like playing anywhere else. Like, I feel like I could just convince him to let me go, you know?
I just can't believe you call yourself like a veal. That's awesome.
Hey, look, I'm a realist. I know those guys are special athletes, and I am not.
All right, so the guy that I'm going with, only because I stood next to him in a picture, I'm not a big guy, but I'm going with Hollywood Brown, only because I feel like I could.
After that last offseason, though?
Only because I feel like I could peel out. You know, you do the cartoon peel out and just book it at him full on. And I feel like I could do some damage if I just laid out full on, going full speed. But anyone else, I would just bounce off of, right? Like it wouldn't.
I think Tavon Young might be a little easy. I don't know who would be between.
But Marquise just looks smaller to me than Tavon. He does look
small when he's on the field. As big as he looked in the offseason, as soon as I saw him with his helmet and shoulder pad, he looked small again. I mean, I love the guy, but he looked Ryan Jensen. You ain't getting past Ryan Jensen, Flo knows. It's not happening. It's just not. Yeah, we did talk about what Snead said, and it's cool. I mean, you can always 6'3" appeal. That's right. Click one. Yeah, we did talk about it. Basically, just to sum it up, we just felt like he was probably defending his guys and defending the fact that every time he turns on the TV, he hears about how bad their receiving core is, how they have no weapons for Lamar. And I think he was just sticking up for his guys and saying, look, if my guys, if Hollywood had 100 targets, you might consider him a number one. I don't know if I agree with him, but I'm assuming that that's what he's talking about. And yeah, I agree with Tanya. You ain't getting past Hollywood. I'm sorry. The man is too fast. He's too quick.
Think about it. He's just in an alley, right? So
you're just going to run straight at him like a rocket?
Yeah, I'm just going to nosedive at him.
What if he starts taking off and he runs at you too? Because
then I'm screwed. I'm absolutely screwed at that point. But I'm imagining someone like goalie, you know what I mean? Just standing there.
Yeah, that's how I imagine Ryan Jensen. Just standing there and you can just bounce off of him because it's not happening. Anyone think Torrey Smith had 2 years left in him? I tell you what, I just saw Torrey on Get Up. And man, the guy's good on there, man. We got to try and get him on here. I know he hasn't answered our messages.
He's big time just like 8 times now.
We keep trying, but he is good, man. I would love to have that guy on. I'm a big fan of his. We loved Torrey when he was here. Bummed. Oh, yeah, I got to agree with you. We forgot about Trace McSorley.
No, Trace is bigger than Marquise. And have you seen Trace's dad? Trace McSorley grew up in the weight room. Don't underestimate Trace McSorley.
What about RG3 as Eternal Raindrop puts out?
RG3 is an all-American athlete.
But how much side to side does he have left? Is he straight line?
That's true. Could you get him? You can like juck and jive and get right past it.
I don't know who else I would go. I think you got to go. Yeah, I think we've the referee. That's who I'd go after.
So all right. I got to ask you one more.
All right.
So if you were going to the bar and you wanted to hang out with a Raven, who would it be? Who do you think would be the most entertaining?
Well, I'm disappointed that he's now gone because Mark Ingram would have been 100% my guy. He is the funniest mic'd up personality I've seen on the Ravens. Yeah, as my son is doing the dance right now. He's dancing on the side with JK. He was absolutely hilarious. So I would go out with, but he's not here. So does that not count?
Nah, you can take it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would have to go.
You can take it. But yeah, because that's what I said. He was on last year's team. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go Mark Ingram. How about you?
Yeah. I just wanted to, before I give you my answer, someone said Earl Thomas. Not a chance. Am I seeing Earl Thomas in a dark alley? Man's obviously got a temper.
Yeah, he shows he'll pop off first. Okay. And we all know in a street fight, usually it's the one who lands the first good one tends to be the winner.
And he's you're ripped when you got a 6-pack on your back.
Yeah, he's a muscle. Yeah,
no, thank you. But for me, it's funny because you talk about Ravens being mic'd up. Marcus Peters is an instant. What am I trying? He's instant fire when he's on television, right? Like he's what is he's an instant bit. What is a soundbite? Soundbite.
Yeah,
there you go. Soundbite. So Marcus Peters, I would love to go out and hang out with Marcus Peters for a night, man, and just
really
kick it and hear his stories. And
Marcus Peters scares me. I'll be honest with you.
So
he
look,
scares me. I feel like I would say the wrong thing. I'd get
and he would just get mad and
he'd punch me in my mouth, and I'd be like, I probably deserved. I don't know if I deserved it or not, but I'd take
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But I agree. Ravens 7-6 B-more. Brandon Williams is an absolute goofball. And when I watch his big ass dancing, the way he can move at his size is absolutely hilarious. I think Lamar would be a blast to hang out with. I love his sense of humor. And he would make me feel like I'm, he wouldn't big time you. He seems like the kind of guy that could just hang out with you. He wouldn't make you feel like you're, a punk or not, or like below him, beneath him. He would just make you feel like one of the guys. And so I would love hanging. What is this, Glenn? No, Glenn, no. What is this? Oh, to Davis. Davis. Who am I talking about? Davis.
Corey Davis.
Oh, Corey Davis. Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. That's cool.
But look, with Marcus, you get a twofer. You get a twofer because if you get in a bar fight.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is a twofer because he might pop. Yeah, he.
But think about the entertainment value. I mean, that guy's got to have stories, especially with Marshawn as his cousin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he does. But I mean, I'm just looking for goofballs. It's because that's what I am. I'm kind of a clown, so I would be looking for another clown that I can hang out with. Marlon. See, I see a lot of Marlon in there. I don't get a lot of warm and fuzzies.
He's funny on social media.
He is, but in his post game. Yeah, he can be quite
comes
short.
Off like condescending a little bit sometimes, not on purpose.
And he's not. Yeah, so for that, I would have to knock him out because I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I like guys that treat the media right because to me, when I was a fan, I was chill. I was always told that the media is the voice of the fan. We can't ask them questions. The media does it for us. So when you're being mean to the media, I get that they're not directly being mean to us, but those are the questions the fans want answered. So I don't like it when guys don't treat the media well. And so I'm not big. I know Marlon has moments where he does, but then there's some moments where he just seems so short with them and cold with them. And I'm not a big fan of that. But Bradley Bozeman, man of the year, fighting against bullies. He would be a cool one to sit down and talk to. And
he's a Southern boy. So he's got the charm. He's probably a goofball, like you said. I mean, he lived in an RV for a year, for goodness gracious, right?
Tanner Raindrop must have met Marlon. So maybe, if you have personal, he could be great to the fans. And that could absolutely, and I think Joker would be funny too. Calais, with that voice, I mean, my goodness, I could listen to him talk all the time. I mean, that guy's he's got to have stories for days. And he's pretty fun to listen to.
No, absolutely. All right. Last hypothetical, we'll end with this.
All
right. How much money would you put on the table if you had to, I'm going to back up and rephrase this. You're in the weight room. All right.
Oh God.
And there's
what's
two guys.
What's a weight room?
No, there's two guys benching. It's John Harbaugh, Wink Martindale. Who's putting the most up?
I mean, when you look at them, oh man, okay. All right. I like, okay, J-Dub, I could be wrong. I got you. No, he was voted MVP last year. Not media good guy, and he refused it last year because he was upset or something like that, right? Didn't he rate
Look, did you see what Flo's Nose said? I feel like Charbs would be able to convince me to quit the booze with drinking.
That's true. That's true.
He would be motivating you.
Yeah, he's a heck of a leader. Now, as far as your question, I think Wink would be the most obvious because he's so big looking, but I don't think Harbaugh misses weight days very often either. But just from his sheer size, I got to give it to Wink. I mean, I think the better argument would be Wink or Roman because Roman used to be a power lifter.
Oh, it's Roman all day. I don't think it's close.
Yeah, when you see him in person, he is so short and so.
I mean, think about the advantage. He's only got to travel
shoulders and chest.
He's only got to travel 6 inches, and he's got a full rep.
Yeah, he is gigantic. Like he's short, but he is just. So I think a Wink versus Roman one is one I'd want to see.
I'd want to see Wink versus Rob.
Ryan?
Rob Ryan, baby.
Rob Ryan doesn't spend a lot of time in the weight room.
And neither does Wink. Let me tell you what. Now, maybe we should see them in a cheeseburger eating contest.
Now, that would be interesting. That would be.
Look, let me tell you what. John, I have no doubt, John
don't miss the weight room.
No, I would bet that he probably benches about 1.5 times more than Wink. I mean, the dude, his neck. John Harbaugh has the workout neck.
He
Dude,
does,
John
but
is
look at
in the
Wink.
weight room.
Wink looks. I mean, I know he's got the hoodie on, but that's not giving him a whole lot.
Nah, yeah, I don't see John losing that
Now in a
one
foot
for sure.
race, I think Wink's gonna have a tough time keeping up with John.
Wink and Rob in a foot race too.
That would be awesome. Yeah, with Rex cheering his brother on. That would be
But
awesome.
that belly. Now, if they were going for reps, that's the other thing too. Wink has the event. He can bounce off the belly though. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can't touch Dutch belly. You got to touch chest. Come on now. What are you off the stuff? No. Yeah. Wonder Wink. Which coach scores higher on the Wonderlic? Well, they're both pretty bright, so that would be a tough one.
I was gonna ask that one, but I didn't even want to touch that.
Well, they're both. I mean, look.
I'm talking about like the players. I was like, you know what? I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to call any of our guys dumb. That's. Right. I mean, I was gonna say.
Well, and plus, it's not even fair because we have one guy that's a certified genius who scored in the 90 percentile of the ACT in 6th grade in Bredesen. So like,
yeah, we'd have the only way we could make that is if we narrowed it down to starters only, because he would be the obvious winner there.
Yeah, just like when we had Urschel, right?
Yeah, and one last thing. I know we're about to wrap things up, but I saw a stat and I wanted to bring it up because I think it was really cool. It was postseason wins since 2000, and I know I'm totally going back semi-serious here, and I'm just keep the comments coming because they're hilarious. But postseason wins since the year 2000, the Patriots, of course, lead the way with 30 wins. But second, right behind the Patriots, well, actually not right behind them, but still second, is the Baltimore Ravens with 16 postseason wins, one ahead of the Steelers, Seahawks, and Packers, who have 15. Now, I know that the first few of those years in the early 2000s was Brian Billick, who led them to a few of those wins. But I mean, a good portion of those 16 wins since 2000 are under John Harbaugh. So, I mean, when you rank your coaches, Jimbo, where's John Boy end up? Is he top? What is he? Top what?
For me, John is a lock at top 5. And I personally, because I'm a Ravens fan, I put him in my top 3. I think the only coaches that I still put in front of John right now, I know you're gonna hate when I say this, but I still put Belichick up there and Andy Reid. Those are my 2 that I put in front of John. I think
Tomlin's right up there too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, obviously there's a definite argument for a lot of other guys, but I give John the nod just because I feel like I know the most about him and feel the most, I follow him the closest, and he's a Ravens guy. So, but undeniably, I think that it's fair to say Belichick and Reid deserve to be in front of him, but not too many other people deserve to be clear and above, like in front of him,
Yeah. I think the only other one is Tomlin that you could argue because of his never had a losing season. He's got the Super Bowl. He's really, there's not a whole lot of holes in his resume.
Now, the only thing I'll say if you're really splitting hairs, I think it's fair to say that a lot of people that hate Tomlin will say that his Super Bowl was more Cowher's team than his team because it was so early in his career.
Yeah, but neither one bought the groceries. They all had Coburn, I believe his name is Kevin Coburn, as their GM. Right. So how much can they, he had the same roster, but it's not like he was drafting the players. Coburn was drafting the players.
Yeah, and that's really splitting hairs to me either way. But I know that is one thing that people bring up where John, there was years until he won a Super Bowl, obviously. So that was kind of more quote.
I don't know how people can put. Did you see the last? Now, Sean Payton, if you want to argue that, that's a fair argument.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
But McVay?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Shanahan?
No chance. I mean, I like those coaches. Don't get me wrong. I think they're good coaches.
They're innovative.
Kyle Shanahan and McVay are maybe 2 of the top 3 with Reid as far as offensive coaches. And Sean Payton actually. So yeah, I guess all those guys are fantastic. But no, not yet. Not without the level, even close to the level of success John has had. I mean, I know that Kyle and Sean both led their teams to a Super Bowl. They also both lost the Super Bowl, whereas Harbaugh has a win. And outside of that, those 2 runs, they haven't really done much. So I don't think I could now. Maybe in the future. I mean, McVay is what? He's our age, so yeah. I think that there's definitely an opportunity for him to get up there, and maybe Stafford will help him, but. Look, the fact that they don't have any first-round picks till 2024, that's not going to help. The fact that if they aren't competitive every year, they can't fill the stadium that they just built, then that I think that's going to be a problem. So yeah, I don't give Shanahan and McVay that mantle yet, but if you want to tell me Peyton, Reed, Belichick,
Yeah,
Tomlin,
I'm disappointed in
that.
myself that I didn't say Peyton because
Yeah,
man,
well,
he is one
hey,
heck of a coach.
Oh, he is. But look, when you look at it, I mean, if you stack their resumes up, it's not like it's oh yeah, he's definitely ahead of Harbaugh, but
Right.
definitely in the conversation, he's a top 5 coach. There's no doubt about it.
And there's
yeah,
one
as Tim Ott said, most road playoff wins is John Harbaugh, and that's saying something. You talk about going all the way back to the beginning. Nobody has more road playoff wins than John Harbaugh.
And he's not done yet. That's the thing. He's not done yet.
Yeah.
Now the other thing I do want to say, clear and above, I will say this till the cows come home. I think that our front office is the best in the NFL from top to bottom, and I don't think it's close. Yeah. I don't think it's close. I think Eric DaCosta has been the best, the most prepared, well-groomed GM. I mean, we've been paying him like a GM for 16 years previous to him actually being a GM. Yep. Had a great mentor, and then the scouting department, everything.
And the owner. I think he's the best owner in sports. No owner invests more in his team and his players than why do I see his face and I'm blanking on
Bisciotti, Steve Bisciotti.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, then Bisciotti. I mean, this guy has done everything, and I'm sure if you go to the Castle now, there's probably construction because every year he adds to this already fantastic facilities. And speaking personally as someone who's been to their training camp and brought my son there in 2019, they do it right by the fans too, man. I mean, free ice cream for everyone. Mm-hmm. You could go out and get leave out handfuls of ice cream for free. I mean, drinks for free. They have all this different events set up for the kids, like where they have a ball throwing. I'm not even sure what it's called. It's like punts, Nerf balls up in the air, and kids can try and catch Nerf balls that are punted. They have a throwing contest. They have kicking contests. They have all kinds of obstacle courses that you have to go up and over and through things. All this 100% free. They're fantastic with their fans, and the facilities are incredible. So I think it's top to bottom the best organization, and Harbs has something to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the real question. How many kids did you stiff arm to get ice creams or punted footballs?
No, I had to be on my best behavior. I didn't even participate in the punting footballs.
I can just see you.
I mean, look, I was tempted, Jimbo, but I had my son there. I had to act like an adult and make sure, he was my focus. He had all the fun. But yeah, I can't wait to go back. I know he can't wait to go back, and hopefully, I don't know if this year if they'll be able to do it, but definitely in 2022.
Right. Well, that's it for us tonight, folks. We appreciate you for tuning in. Yeah. Shout outs to Raven Nation, to Raven Flock. Appreciate the support tonight. Still breaking records just like every night. Every Tuesday, we are here for you. Make